So I hope that this doesn't come from a place of egoicness and egoic desires and all those things. Because even though, like, you know, when you go through an awakening, you still have like these earthly 3D desires. You still have these things become a little just clearer. And I think, particularly with mine, astrologically speaking, I'm following my North Node. I'm enjoying the fact that there's creativity, but my North Node was in Leo, and it's literally conjunct Vesta. What does that mean? You know, it's about devotion towards creativity, devotion towards shining, devotion towards all these things that even if people look at you in a sort of negative way, or if there's all these things, you still stick by it, and you're really like pure about it. And it's devotion, it's commitment, it's I was rewatching this video about this person talking about Vesta and how Vesta is also, yes, with servitude, but there's something about beyond, it's I don't know, explain it, beyond commitment, this idea that when you're focused on something, you're putting all your efforts into it, and it's like serving a greater purpose more than the egoic self. And particularly with Leo, that's the sun, so that is ego. And so definitely that also ties in with the wisdom I get from loss of reputation. That's in my 10th house stuff. And with the sun ruling Leo, it don't rule my first house, so it's something to do with the body, so overall health. But it also rules my 5th house, because it is Leo. Leo rules 5th house, therefore the sun rules 5th house. And so a lot of it's related to many things, like relating people. For me it's Libra, because I have sun in Libra, but also when that conjuncts Pluto, it has to be real. It's like fucking genuine. Like, I'm just gonna say it fucking straight out. You know, and I do this now, and I feel like it's like a reinvention, reawakening, if you may, and just like letting it all fucking out. With even the frustrations, yes, and it's okay to have those things as long as you're not, you know, burying yourself in the egoic process of I want this, I want that. So I wanted to talk specifically about, this one's just like an all talk video, and hopefully this helps you guys, you know, because it has helped me throughout my journey, where I go through basically always like an ego burning, like ego fucking flaying. It's like a Pluto and Sun, Pluto, whatever, right? I know how to work with that energy, but it continues to reveal to me how the egoic desires is no longer about what I expect in people, what I want myself. However, there is still this like desire where I keep getting reminded of there's something about foreign travel, because I have Mars in Sagittarius, and it's in the 5th house, and I also have Neptune in Sagittarius, also in the 5th house, but they're not conjunct. They're not. Either way, the point is that I have all these aspects in my chart, but the chart, as I already told in previous videos, astrology reveals what's already there, and what's already there is this like strong innate desire to genuinely relate with people, pertaining to like how it's all related to this journey of not being too intense, but at the same time retaining that intensity for myself, not for anybody else. Because in the past lives I've been always like, you shine, you shine, you shine, but I'm like, well, how am I supposed to shine if I don't focus on myself. Meaning, this journey that I'm in, what the soul chose to do. So myself, I mean literally, like, not purely egoic. There is a healthier ego now, where I can shine without having to hurt anyone. I can shine without having to, I'm very clear with my intention. So here it is. This the clear intention that I have here is that you've already seen it. I love languages. I love culture. I love all these things, and you're about to get tested. Well, yes, literally also tested by unconsciousness in the world, where I find that I've always discovered, not always, I discovered a few years ago, I don't know how long, whatever, the fuck, doesn't matter. I discovered that there's a link between, and when I say a link, I mean, like, I was kind of surprised, like, oh, I didn't know about this before, why didn't I know about this before? And the link is really that everything is connected. So that means that everything from what we desire, what we go through, what we experience, and everything else that's unseen and seen, it's all connected. Everything we do and choices. So even the words that I choose right now, it's all going to connect. It's all going to affect everything. It's going to influence someone who's watching this. It's going to influence you. It's going to influence me and what I process and what I believe in. And all that stuff. Whether you're talking about manifestation, the law of this, the law of that, it's all fucking connected. That's the beautiful thing, right? So when I specifically pinpoint towards something like languages and culture and all that stuff, I realized or started re-realizing or re-realizing that what I really want is to be natural. And you can say this ties into language acquisition, all that stuff in research. But research is just the similar to astrology, where science is similar, where it's just revealing what's already there. It's always been there. We just never really talked about it. We just never knew it. It wasn't in the consciousness of humanity or part of our psyche. It wasn't there. But it doesn't mean that it didn't exist. So same thing with acquiring language. In other words, just language, just going with all that stuff. And I see all these things where I go through I've done some research, and not really say research, but I've done some looking, and I've seen many channels. I still see many channels, and it is, to be honest, there's a feeling of disappointment where they go through all these things and they have all these stories. They really try. But I find that when you're in an awakening process, or when you've awakened, or you continue, awakening process is still, it's gradual, it's still, it's ongoing for most of us. So when it comes to stuff like this, there's a connection between, get this, there's a connection between your inner nature, how you pick up language, what you know about it, what you believe about it, what you experience. Mostly you experience first before all that stuff. And connection with people, and why we even like language. What is it about languages? There's something about the acquisition, the acquiring, the attaining of knowledge through connections. Okay? And this is why we like travel. We like travel, we like those who are drawn to that. There's a mystery behind it. There's it's a sort of a Jupiterian it's a Jupiterian feel, yes, but it's also Neptunian, where it's like there's mystery behind it. It's like, oh, I don't know what this is. What's this? It's like, oh, it's a foreign thing. And so people who are really drawn to foreign things, aliens, extraterrestrials, mysteries behind it, all those things. The magic behind it is what's wonderful. When I was in Italy, I wasn't really acquiring Italian back then, But I felt like I was there, and I felt like this connection to just be there without... I kind of just gave up using my books at that time. This was back in 2013. And this was like... I brought my I brought my whatever stuff, you know, the usual typical standard, I gotta study, blah, 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 all that crap, right? And I mean that in the most loving way. It's just, I didn't really know. In other words, it wasn't part of my process. I wasn't really like, again, like I said, I think for me, I awakened slowly. And one of those things is this one too, with particularly like my love for the mystery of connecting and the mystery of the unknown in different lands and all that stuff. So I find that there's a correlation between like why like sci-fi and science and astrology and languages and music and intuition and deeper psychological sort of stuff. It's all fucking like mixed. So yeah. So the thing is that there is a direct link between how languages are, awakening, because awakening starts to make you realize the genuineness. You know, it's ruled by, it's Kundalini awakening, you could call it that way. Sometimes it's also slow, a loss or trauma, where you start to kind of, you're literally like your outer skin has peeled off, and now you want to be real. You want things that are more genuine, things that are beyond, you know, beyond the egoic desires of like, for me, when I was in language, I wanted to show off, and it's like, oh god, like when I show my flag off, it's like it's a different show off. It's a different. I'm proud of it. It's like it's a positive thing. It feels very like, oh, I really like what I'm doing. I really like the colors. I really like that I'm connecting with it. But I'm no longer trying to prove myself to other people. I mean, I've tried to make videos before. I kind of deleted them, and then just like, you know, all that stuff. So anyways, this is my little expression of the fact that there is a link between acquisition. So I feel like even when it comes to, if you look at my older videos, like my first few videos, I talked about, what was it? I talked about, what was it specifically? How if you want to, let's say, preserve a language, well, what's their use? Why? So if we were to preserve language, what would the reason be? If it's out of fear, then that's egoic. And it's not going to work because all we're doing is pushing things. If it's out of love, you would be open to what children do, specifically younger children. And this is where it gets into like this whole, like, once you've awakened, you start to realize, oh, all you need is love, right? So the Beatles were right. Right, so it's all there. It's been there for like the fucking 100,000 years of existence. We've only been brainwashed and conditioned to, at least when it comes to language, to see it from an overly like grammatical, blah, empirical, whatever shit, you know, was imposed on society. It doesn't matter. It's not about blame. It's just literally like that's what we went through. Like grammar this, grammar that, corrections, correction. Everybody wants to be right, so it's kind of just it's elevated the egoic sense of self and like preservation. Me versus you. Me. Fuck you. Like it's like no, it's not gonna work that way. Even with some of the fears that I have, like I talked about, came into perspective where it's like, oh, okay, so let's say like languages borrow words, all that stuff. It was from a place of fear when I was worried about like, so I have a cultural background in like, my parents are from the Philippines, and you know the language there has a lot of borrowings like from Spanish and from English, all those things. And I was just like, you know, it was this person that I'm helping with English, he said there's like he became this catalyst of like, it shouldn't really matter if words are being borrowed, because a language is a language, is a tool, it's communication. And yes, languages die, and languages are formed. That's part of the process. However, we have to question whether what we want with language is from an actual like whole connected state, or are we just relying on what the ego wants, and we think it's what we want. Like, you know, so sometimes I question that myself, and it's like, why am I going, like, what am I doing? Like, if I were to go back into, let's say, my dad, he has a separate language, it's called Pangasinan, and I'm thinking, why would I go into that? It's now going to now cater to what he wants, even though it's a nice language. I'm not focusing on what I want. I get all these like Latino speakers coming to me, whether it's like on personal thing, where it's like guys asking blah blah blah, like what is this, like, oh, they want a partnership or da, and then it's like, why would I go back into Spanish when it's something that doesn't, there's something about, like, let's say for example, like for myself, it's like underdog languages. I find it beautiful because it's rare, it's like a rare gem, it's beautiful, it's precious. Doesn't mean that the more popular languages are not fun. It's just that's what I'm drawn to. And I find that that's where I'm focusing my energies on, and it's like it brings a lot of joy, because it's not, you know, let alone the fact that I don't even study things anymore. I just don't do that. I just go like, I do have some textbooks where I kind of just like, as long as it's not translated, I go through it, and I kind of just skim through it, okay, and then I go back to that sense of like, okay, I don't even ask anymore. I just go like, is it, I intuit it and go, is this fun? If it's not fun, fuck it. You know, it's like, whatever, I'm gonna keep going. And then came, like, you know, like one of the things that why I'm doing Slovak right now is, it wasn't even planned. It was wonderful because I came across this channel, and she does stories, and it was like, it's simple, straightforward, it's simple, and it's, you know, I don't even turn on the subtitles. I just like, I skip the stuff that she has with like grammar and all that stuff, but it's like, it's wonderful because it's like, oh, I'm actually getting a lot of it. It's enjoyable, it's fun, and it ties in really with my North Node in Leo, especially in like the first house with all that stuff, the good E5 house, 5th house stuff, blah 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 blah. And it's just a wonderful feeling when you follow the fun, when you follow the love, when you follow the heart. I would say that's where it becomes not only joyful but meaningful. I don't know, take it from me, where I've gone through all this process where, like, you know, it's okay to sometimes still go through grammar and all that stuff, and grammar, and if you want to, but in the end, is it fun? Is it joy? Is it light, as Eckhart says? Does it give you ease, lightness, and joy? And if it does, then it's great. You know, so I want to watch these videos with this YouTuber. It's like that. It feels like that. You start to feel it. You go with that. You know, and then of course, information will come as it comes. You know, like there's a reason why in the zodiac there's fire first. You experience it's like a burst of energy. It's like, ooh, experience, ooh, curiosity, right? And then there's the experience itself. The actual, like, experiencing, the doing, the kind of getting sort of thing. But that also means that it's not so much about knowledge. It's more about just, you know, it's hands-on. And then comes the knowledge later. And then comes the end of the cycle. You have a sort of a deeper understanding of it. It ties in. There's a link to that between the astrological elemental process and language acquisition, you know, and who cares if I'm promoting this, whatever, doesn't matter. The point is, what feels natural, I think should be what feels natural. When I say natural, I don't just mean natural like nature. You know, I've come across so many people who don't understand what they have this sort of missing link with intuition. And intuition, when I say intuition, I don't just mean like this kind of intuition. It's not a mind thing. It's sensing that you have a greater purpose, a greater, reason why your soul chose to be here. And so I don't know, I'm following this. Well, I could be going back to Spanish. I'm not sure. I'm going with the flow here. But right now Slovak is my focus. Russian is still there. There's times where I kind of want to go back into like other things, like, oh, it's Catalan and stuff. Then when I look at some of this stuff, whatever pops up on my feed, if it vibrates, if it's something resonates with me, like I look, okay, then I click on it and I sense something. I'm learning to retrust that intuition. I thought it was just, before it was just all intuitive stuff and instinct, blah blah blah, and it was all like very, not completely egoic, but yeah, mostly it was like it's funny, you go through these processes, and like right now I'm sensing a sense of release. There's still a bit of like that sort of pull down where it's like I need to calm down, I need to, because I get quite intense when it comes to the real stuff. Like now you're probably seeing my videos, I'm like just saying whatever the fuck I want. And these are the things I have to, I'm following them, I'm honoring this, the realness where it's not from a place of, at least I keep watch of it, and I sense, I go back to sitting with it and processing it, starting with the body and saying, is the senses telling me that what I'm doing right now is the only time, now is the only truth, now is the only thing. What I'm what I'm sensing comes from a place of, like, if there's a push, if there's a sort of like an insistence, if there's a sort of a, you'll get it, you'll sort of get it. So kudos to those who are really trying and making videos here on YouTube, particularly when it helps people acquire languages. I think there's a greater mission behind that, or there's a greater purpose, there's a greater connection to the whole when we value our own abilities to intuit and be more childlike, literally childlike, right? And that thing we used to call innocence, right? That whole like just embracing through stories, embracing through experience, embracing through, it's just, that's the reason why they call it acquisition, right? So yeah, that's all. I don't know. So to however you want to process things, if it's still going to be on the grammar stuff, it's not about good or bad, it doesn't matter right or wrong, it's about, do you feel that sense of like it is connecting to a greater thing? Is this something that's like, because there's a sense of it, we all have that sense internally, it's an innate sort of sensation, like a feeling, sensation, emotion, whatever it is, it's there. And it's like, if you have to ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? That means it's a start. It's like a light bulb went off, and you go, oh, okay, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to do, or maybe this isn't the way it's supposed to be, maybe this isn't what language is supposed to go into, maybe this isn't this isn't the culture I'm supposed to get into, this is the relationship, this isn't the direction so it's nothing to do with the thing itself, it's about the energy behind it. Everything is energy, right? So how do you feel, how do you sense that energy, how is that, is it in alignment? So many people are now awakening, more and more people. And this is why I notice there's little beauties that are actually becoming more and more towards the natural, more and more towards not only healing stuff, but particularly with like languages and culture, it's becoming more real, it's becoming more, we're helping each other a lot more. It's more loving, it's a little more natural, it's more childlike, it's fun. Not the egoic kind of fun, like the kind of stuff, right? Like, bury your sorrows away. That's back then. That's right. We are going through an evolutionary process, and we as a planet are awakening. So this does not exclude things like as a tool, like languages, culture. Everything is a tool. Energy works towards that, and we use, because it's 3D, because it's dense. You know this from Lord Dolores Cannon stuff. You know this. If for those who do know, that is, this is, yeah, 3D is a tool. It's a tool for elevation. It's a tool for awakening. It's a tool for the experience itself. We're here to learn. Right? But beyond that learning is the actual connection. So, anyway, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely, lovely day, and I mean that. Enjoy it, whatever you're doing, especially if you're languages. Have fun with it. Have fun, childlike, all that stuff. Enjoy it, whatever you gotta do. I'll see you guys later.